Hello, my friends, and welcome to the State of Gaming address. And I got a few things to say as far as this era has been concerned. And we're going to start off with the first thing that I'm going to cover, and that is where we are in this era and what we have experienced. And then down the line, we're going to go right into what the future of the channel entails and whatnot. So, here we go. Well, as you can tell, for as long as we've been around as gamers, during this time where everything is pretty much to the point of cringe, and how cancer culture has become a thing for time immemorial, we've gotten to a point to where even the slightest things can set people off. And being as a gamer, the last thing we should ever do is drive people off and alienate them to the point in which they do not want to live on this earth any longer. I mean, for those who stream on Twitch, being if you're a name or not, and even if you don't stream on Twitch, but you stream on YouTube, same rules applies. Whether you're a name or not, this should be addressed. You see, the latest that have been coming out has been, Hogwarts Legacy. And there's been a lot of stupidity going on as far as, what would happen if you purchase the game or if you start playing it or whatnot. It's sort of like it's becomes, I don't know what's the word for it. The word that comes to mind is superstitious. Yeah, that's where we come to. We're living during a time where cancer culture is more of an annoyance than one might think. Sure, we got it in spades when it comes to certain communities, be it black, white, Latino, LGBTQ, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, sexual preference you are, but really don't make it a big thing, okay? There's enough of that shit going around, and it's only February. And you know what we had to deal with in February? Black History. And I don't even celebrate that shit, and I'm black. So the thing goes without saying, it's a game. We need to remember that. It's a game. Don't blow it up more than it should be. Okay? Granted, the series by itself was done by J.K. Rowling. So, she said a few things she shouldn't have said, but one thing you gotta do, and not many people do it very often, but they need to get over it. And it's not what you think it means, but I mean really get over it. What are you mad about? That's what the real question is. Are you mad about she took a shot at you personally, or she was saying something to make an example of. And people have done this madness for so very long, to where it does not make sense. It really doesn't. It truly does not make sense. It's like people got an uproar with all these remakes. I said, well, you know what? Don't buy the remake. That's how you solve that problem. You don't buy the remake. There's a remake of Saints Row. There was a remake of God of War, even though it was really more like a different take of God of War, but it was still God of War. And how many people got up in arms about, say, Live I Live? Now, nobody has ever heard of Live I Live before, the Switch. But people made a big thing like, oh, Live I Live. And guess what? Live I Live lived quietly. It lived quietly on Super Famicom for years. Squaresoft never released it because they had so many titles coming out and they weren't sure if Live a Live could stand up to the hype. You've seen it all before. And for those who have never been through it, okay, guess what? Don't worry about it. Never played a game before like that? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the history. Don't worry about the lore and everything like that. Just enjoy for what it's worth. And it's the same thing I say now. For those who are up in arms about remakes, remasters, or even new games. If it's a remaster or remake, if it's a re-envisioning of something, don't get up in arms about it. The real question is, did you pay for it? And if so, are you enjoying it? And if the answer is yes, then shut the fuck up. You really have no real reason to be upset for it. I mean, everybody may have stank over Bayonetta after the third game came out. And how many people wanted 3 to come out? And then once a big stink was made about 3, it's like, okay, you know what? It's not really worth getting. One little thing could basically change up everything. And I do mean that. And all it takes is just one nasty little word or one little nasty little thing, and everything gets all bent out of proportions. And especially the biggest consumer market there is. Are people who are into games, anime, and manga. Now granted, I myself like my anime, as well as my manga. And I do enjoy my video games. But I wouldn't go so far as to say, put up a picket sign and start boycotting a game just because this person over here doesn't like it. It's quite stupid. Makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. It's even more worse than people who come into a forum and they make a list of ranked games from certain franchises, like Sora no Kiseki, Fire Emblem East, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, what have you, whatever that list is. I'm just throwing that out for, say, examples. It gets annoying real quick. And, you're welcome to your own opinion of it, but it gets worn out real quick. It's just right up there with hot takes. It's just basically, yeah, you know what? You can only deal with that shit for so long, and then all of a sudden, like, no, nah, no. It's not even necessary. Don't have to do that. It's simply to the point. If you like the game, then play it. You don't even have to go as far as say stream it. It's like if I had the latest edition of, say, Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors. Would I stream it? No. Would I make a Let's Play of it? Probably. But would I be playing it? Absolutely. My thing is, whatever I'm playing, I'm enjoying it. Even if I got either a suggestion, a submission, or even, say, a request. And despite whatever I say about it, I'm just gonna be up real and honest and just say it's alright. Or if I don't like it, I'll say why I don't like it. I won't just say it sucks. No, there's a reason it does. And I got a reason for saying why it is. And I think I stated this before, but it's like I did a whole bunch of LPs prior to doing this. And I said I was going to do this kind of video because it's necessary to say this. Because, folks, if you don't realize what is happening, we're destroying our own way of life through being ignorant. And to a certain degree, snowflakey. Now, I'm the type of person that will not say anything unless I deem it necessary for me to really do say something. And I feel like I need to say something about it because it doesn't directly involve me, but I become involved because it is my way of life. That's how it is. Most people do not get that, but that's how it is. Now, as I said, I don't mind revised over a remake. Because when you revise something, you're basically updating what it was that made the game so likable in the beginning. And therefore, you've kept the originality of a game. Of the same game you've played prior to that. But with a fresh coat of paint. You're seeing it like, oh, I've never seen this before. I've never noticed this before. You know, little things you never noticed before as you're playing it a second time. You're playing the same game, but a second time. Like, say, you're playing the original. I'll give a good example. Seven Saga. Most people cite it as the hardest game on the SNES. One of the hardest RPGs on the SNES. But little do they realize everything was nerfed. The difficulty was spiked. And I can tell you another game that was like that. Arcana. Once you level, you didn't get, the right kind of boost for your characters. You basically got levels upon, say, the levels were that equal to, say, Fire Emblem, which basically +1 to this and +2 to that, but they won't go any higher than 3. Other games you have, when you level, you get +3 to this, +4 to that, +5 to this, +10 to that. You get perks. Some games you don't get perks. Perks when you level. Now, imagine playing a game which doesn't have the exact charm that you enjoyed about the franchise that made you fall in love with it. That's what a remake is. That's a remake or remaster. A remake into a remaster is basically you remastered the newer version of the revised, but you took out what was so great about the revised version. So therefore, you took out all that was good from a revised version of the same game and made it into something totally different. And it makes people wonder, well, what happened to this person? What happened to that person? Every game has one. Most people, to this day, it's like you play Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I'm going to call it what it is. Final Fantasy Crisis Core. It's based off 7. Most people do not like the remaster version called Reunion. And that's fine. You can always play the original one. And most times they say, well, I don't like it because of the voice acting. Some things just sound better Japanese, while other things do sound better in English, but English can become a stranger to itself. I'll put it like that. And for what it's worth, I don't know. I mean, you have to kind of think about it. What is it worth to say you want to put in, say, $60 on a game? You're looking forward to playing this game, but after what one person says or what a couple people say, and you've already done the deed, that's when it becomes wasted. Because you basically wasted money on something that you might enjoy, and you just gave it up for, say, somebody who just basically jumped on the bandwagon for no apparent reason, and they say they don't like it because of what another person say. It's basically, I heard it through the grapevine. That's all it is. We're kind of stuck up on I heard it through the grapevine. And most people don't see it like that. It's a sad thing, but that's what it is. And that's why I feel if we're not careful, we're going to destroy our own culture as gamers, because what we're doing is just that. We are saying, you shouldn't be a gamer. You shouldn't be playing this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. Like, okay, first off, you don't know me. Okay? Second off, I'll play whatever I damn well feel like. And I really do not need your feedback on what I should play next. It's the reason why you don't hardly ever see me use the randomizer, because I've only used the randomizer a couple of times, and most times I just go with what sounds good to me at the time. Sometimes I go with schedule, and other times I'm trying to make a schedule for certain series of games that I'm doing just for, say, this week or next week or the week following that, because I don't know what's going to happen a couple weeks prior to that. So maybe something might happen, and I might not have something up for next week. So I gotta make these videos. I gotta do this. And instead of me just saying, "Oh well, let me see," no. It's sort of like when people want to dig for information about you. You don't have to really dig. You don't really have to do that. Just say no. It's about the same thing I could say about, like I said, people who basically become flakes. You basically getting angry and upset over one game. Or rather, you play this one game that everybody else is playing, and you feel the need, you gotta stream it. You don't have to stream it. It's like, you don't want to, don't do it. If it's gonna bug you that much to where it might cause you to do something you may regret, then don't do it. And yes, I'm gonna call this generation what it is, flakes. Because there's a lot of people who act like flakes. Snowflakes. They basically do act like snowflakes. And you say the one little thing that might... And you say one... And, you might take one little thing to heart, and, you shouldn't take it to heart. Like video games. Don't take it to heart. Whenever I do buy myself a game, it don't have to be the most popular game that everybody on God's green earth is playing. I could pick up something that's not even worth that much, or if it's on sale, and I can enjoy it for what it's worth. As be it if I'm playing it, doing it as a let's play, or I'm just playing it just to say, oh, I need something I can chill with, something I can play in the background when I'm not too busy doing other things. But I have something I can play with, something that can basically kill time. I can relax. I can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that sort of thing. We forgot what gaming is really about. We forgot that it's a recreational time. That's what it is. It's a rec time. It's recreational. Like you're watching TV, watch a movie. It's recreational. It's a recreational activity. That's what you're doing. You're watching something that makes you feel good, that helps you relax, that takes the edge off of life. Whether it be for an hour, be it for 2, maybe 3 hours, because you're enjoying it for so long, that's great, that's wonderful. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to take it to heart. You're supposed to enjoy it for what it's worth. And hey, even if you paid for it, that's all the more reason. If you didn't like it, then that's your money. I mean, it's like saying you've cooked something. Now, I'm pretty sure that longtime viewers of my channel know that I do cook. And whenever people ask me, am I ever going to do cooking videos? It's like, yeah, perhaps one day when I have something interesting I want to cook and show it off. Or, snap a picture of it and there you go. So I will even go as far as say, this is how I made this. Give off the recipe and how, and all the little tidbits and everything about it. Yeah, because I enjoy it. It's like recreational. It's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy cooking sometimes. I enjoy cooking for myself. Sometimes I enjoy going out just for the sake of going out. Just to take a walk, Even though I don't walk that far, that's quite alright. I don't mind taking a short walk to one place for another just to say, that feels good. What happens after that? Oh, maybe I might be knocked out after that, or maybe I might not be. But the point is, I've enjoyed it. I made my time worthwhile. And like I said, that's one thing that we as gamers really need to do. We need to find the recreation again. And not just play a certain game just for the sake of streaming's sake or for the sake of just saying you're showing it off or anything like that. And I think I said this in the previous take of this video, but I said the following. It's one thing I sort of can't stand, but at the same time I get where they're going with it, but it gets very, very, very annoying. And that's lists and rating lists and tier listing. Tier listing, it's fine and everything, but it gets so worn out so fast. It's right up there with death matches or death battles as they call it. Who would win in a fight? Oh, I don't know. Use your imagination. Yeah, that's the thing. If I use my imagination, you wouldn't like what I would see in it. Okay, let's be real. You don't want to see what's in my head as far as saying who would win in a battle between such and such and such and such. I said, okay, in a contest of this, probably this side. In a contest of such and such, it'll probably be that side. I said, but if we're talking about anything goes, you don't want to know who would win between side A and side B. You don't. Not for my take, anyway. And like I said, it gets old. So it gets really old really fast. And most people don't realize it. It's right up there with saying, hey, what should I play next? Play whatever you goddamn feel like playing. I mean, well, he just wants an opinion. He or she wants an opinion. They don't need an opinion. So what, you can't find whatever kind of game you want to play for yourself? We're not in your room. You don't need a majority vote. This is not Danganronpa. This is not Your Turn to Die. No, it is not anything like that. No. Just play whatever you feel like you want to play. And don't force yourself to like a franchise just because somebody else played it. That's another thing I hear sometimes, or what I read. I should say read more than I hear. But what I read more sometimes is I didn't like this because, I saw such and such and such, and, I didn't like it because, well, then maybe it's not for you. There's a game for everyone. And that's another thing we need to learn. There's a game for everyone. You find what you like and you stick with it. If that's your jam, then by all means stick with it. Nothing wrong with it. The fact of the matter is you need to learn. It's okay to like this. You don't have to be that one person that has to play every game, that has to learn to bite the bullet. Like, no, there's some times you don't need to bite the bullet. There are times you don't have to play every game on the face of the planet Earth because nobody's asking you to do it. You are not going to break records by playing every single game as fast as humanly possible because it cannot be done. Plus, speed runs, they're oversaturated as all get out. Well, I like it. Well, good for you. I don't. Because it gets boring real fast, especially if you're playing the same damn game at infinitum almost, and you're trying to beat an old score. And trust me, like I said, it gets old really fast. It loses its flavor, and of course, knowing how I am, I get bored real quick. That's right up there with, say, Minecraft, Fortnite, Modern Warfare, Fall Guys. It's like it's the same damn thing. You're playing with strangers. But after a certain time you start to get bored. It starts to wear out its welcome, and then you gotta play something else or just call it a day. Call it a night. Because you can only get so much mileage out of a certain game, out of a certain series, and then you got to put it down. So I say this as a fellow gamer. We need to learn, or rather, we need to relearn the following. To learn how to enjoy what a game is really for. You don't have to show it off. You don't have to make a list of your top 5 list or whatever. It's not even necessary to do that. We know a guy in our group who does that, who makes it a big stink, and it's like, okay. That's all we're going to say to it. It's like, okay. And moving on. Grass is green, sky's blue. It might be raining somewhere. It might be 3 a.m. somewhere. But for me, it's just a Tuesday. The thing about the entirety of what it's worth. It's Wednesday. Okay. For what everything is worth, it's not worth anything to get all blown over and just say, I don't like this because of such and such and such and such. I'm like, yeah, I don't like it because it's boring to me. While you're watching, I'll say, yeah, and guess what? I'm falling asleep on it. But why are you in there? No reason. Because it's like this. I could play games like that, but I choose not to. Because if it's like it's world, if I'm playing a world building game, I want to get the benefits of the end result of seeing this world being built and just taking a step back and being part of the world that I built. Yeah. Instead of just me going through this world. No, I want to be part of the world that I built, as well as what I did to make the world that I built. Remember ActRaiser? That's a great example of that series. You basically made the world that you built. You became part of the world that you built. So that's basically the whole story behind the Quintenix quadrilogy. For those who don't know what the Quintenix quadrilogy is, it's ActRaiser, Soul Blader, Illusion of Gaia. I guess it would be it. I guess the evolutionary series, because it goes into ActRaiser, Soul Blader, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, which is basically evolution, and then the last one, which is Robotrek. Most people don't count Robotrek, but it is part of that series because it's like a trilogy. You start from the past, then you go present, and then future. Because we can count ActRaiser into Soul Blazer as past. Illusion of Gaia would be present. Terra Enigma and Robotrek is future. So 5 games that count into past, present, and future. So it's a trilogy. That's the kind of world building I don't mind being a part of. That's the kind of world building that I do not mind dealing with. But games like Minecraft, yeah, that would bore me so quick. If I really wanted to enjoy something, oh, give me Legos. Give me Legos. I'm a Lego kid. You know, that's all there is to it. I enjoy Legos for what they are worth, and it's so much more enjoyable than say Minecraft. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what it is. To me, I grew up during the 80s, so therefore, that to me was my jam. Legos, Duplos, that sort of thing, building blocks, those were my thing, and it still is to this very day. It's basically a part of my childhood, just like with Pac-Man and Galaga, not Galgun, Galaga, and even Dick Duck. Yeah, all that part of my childhood, and I enjoyed it. So I think that's the whole thing. We need to relearn what we should enjoy, be it something that'll take the burn off of life itself, because life can get pretty hectic, so we gotta not take that so seriously, but we had to just like take it one day at a time. And another thing is, a video game, a movie, or even a TV show can just take the edge off so very, very quick. Because, entertainment is what it's doing. Entertain us. It is entertaining us. So there's that. And as I said, we don't want to start alienating people just because of what some other person did to the franchise or anything else, because that one person does not represent the franchise. Not one person represents the franchise. So they may have been part of it, but they aren't it. So there's that. So we just need to relearn not to take things so seriously, not to get all bent out of shape. Because you can so very easily throw yourself into the hospital just because you stressed yourself out over something that basically you enjoyed and you quote unquote die on the hill for. I'm sorry, I ain't die on the hill for that. I may love my video games, but I sure as hell ain't gonna die for them. That's for damn sure. It's the same thing for streaming. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I enjoy my streaming, but I'm not gonna die for it. I'll play like a game for 2 to maybe 4 hours in a stream. If it's a long game, it's gonna take a good bit of mileage to basically get through. And after that, I'm calling it a night, and after that, putting it up for the very next day. Otherwise, I'm not doing jack the shit. I said, what I'm going to do after that? I'm going to lay my head down. I'm going to get myself some sleep. I'm going to sleep all this off, and then next day, something else. So there you go. That's where we stand as gamers, or where we should be as gamers, to where we don't have to do this. We don't have to take it so seriously. No. Just cool it, relax. I mean, there are plenty of other things out there. I mean, I'm glad that I set myself up a schedule to make videos to where, oh, this is for this day, this is for this day, and, so forth and so forth. So, moving on from the state of gaming address to the channel. Okay, so as far as Let's Plays are concerned, as far as Let's Plays are concerned, well, I'm not really worried about this month because I'm sort of a couple weeks ahead in what I've been playing, and some you noticed, to which I can say, okay, Shining Force Exit, it's already done. Ys 8 is not completely done. So I never put up the randomizer video saying, I never put up the randomizer video saying, oh hey, this is coming up after Ys 8, because I never finished Ys 8 yet. I've been so busy with other things that I know it's there, I just need to have a day trying to make some videos, and then have another day to put up some videos so I can set up when I want them to go up. So there's that. I think that's the only one I have yet to finish. There's also Crusader Cinti. I'm almost done with that. Let's see. Robotrek is almost done. And when I'm done with Robotrek, I'm going back to a DS game I started last year, but I never really finished because I was picking up on other projects that were also needing my attention just as much. But I will be going back to Nora and the Time Studio. So there's that. And since March is coming up, that only means one thing, and that's the March of the Robots. And I am considering doing the following. I'm considering finishing up Rad and maybe Panzer Paladin, or I might put Panzer Paladin on, say, hold, finish Rad, and for those who don't know what Rad is, Robot Alchemic Drive. So I might finish up Robot Alchemic Drive and start something else up, or perhaps what I would do is, at the same time that I'm finishing up that, I got a choice of whether I want to do Zone of the Enders or another SRW game. Probably like the sequel to Endless Frontier, the one that's been fan translated, because that's the only way we're ever going to get something, and that's through fan translation. So I'm kind of on the fence on either doing Zone of the Enders or Exceed, or just do Exceed, Zone of the Enders, and finish Rad, because Rad was a pretty long game. It's a pretty long game. And plus, the grind you have to do is just crazy. So I feel like I'm not going to grind for money just to say, oh, just to get all this. Like, no, I'll just basically do what I usually do, speed up the grind process by slapping on a cheat, and go from there. The same goes for what I did for Shining Force Exa. Now, mind you, when I started with Shining Force Exa, I started on the 1.6 emulator of PCSX2. But when they released a newer and updated version of that emulator, I went to 1.7. So I went on, finished the LP, to a point in which I got up to the last chapter and everything went downhill. Within that time, what I did was the following. I checked the previous emulator and saw that I have the save I stopped at on the original LP file. So I played through that, and I basically, within, say, maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe less than that, it might have been a couple days, but I actually got up to the last chapter, and I not only did that, but I also got the secret characters, which I never got when I actually owned the disc. And again, what I did was slap a cheat on, basically max everything out, and go to town. I did that, and went through the remainder of the game I had to do, which was chapter 5, and just basically blazed on through to chapter 14. Went ahead, got the secret characters, and mind you, the secret characters are Garyu and Avalon. So I got the two secret characters and went ahead and finished the game. And those are the only two added parts of the LP I did. So by next week, you'll see that up on your feed. So there you go. But as far as beyond March, as far as April's concerned, and it's my month, I might consider doing something based off a book. And trust me, I got a couple of titles to kick around. One on PS2, which never came out over here, and it's based on The Wizard of Oz. If not that, I'm going to go back to dealing with Nadia's Secret of Blue Water, which was also based on a book, which is Jules Verne's 8,000 Leagues Under Sea. So, yeah. I mean, it's awkward because, it's an anime, but it was based off a book. So, there's that, but you know what? I'm okay with it. And they'll probably go into the Sunday slot. Now, as for the game that I mentioned, it's called Over Zenith. That's the Japanese title. It's called Over Zenith. But the European title, because we never received it over here, is called The Sword of Etheria. So, and it's done by Konami. So I'm just making sure, I got everything that I need to do and get it done. And whatever I go from there, after that, Kamika May, and that's going to be, and that's usually during the summer season, so I got that planned. As far as what I plan to do for that, I got some interesting, and I do mean interesting stuff to showcase. But again, that'll be down the road, and I don't know what that is, and I don't know what it'll entail, but I'm pretty sure when I'm done with it, it'll be worth it. As far as the channel's concerned. And since I don't know what else there is I can add to it, because most of what I said was about where we stand as video gamers, we need to just relearn. Don't take it all seriously. Coming back to the main topic of the state of gaming address, we need to just learn not to die on that hill. I think that's what it comes down to it. Don't die on a hill that nobody's going to actually remember you on. Because everybody's heard of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Yeah, don't be like that guy. Because nobody knew who the hell that guy was. And he was buried in a tomb and nobody remembers who the hell he was. So don't be that person that wants to die on a hill for a franchise that nobody took seriously. Because there are some things you don't take seriously, and you really should learn to take it as a grain of salt. Okay? That's all I gotta say, folks. So, with that, I've been Izzy, and I'm still am Izzy. And with that, be kind to each other. Be respectful to each other. And that said, I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening and watching.